right, so we talked a little bit about products, features, and benefits, and how you kind of place them, how you talk about them. We always, always, always want to have a pre-close in our selling. Now, you should be doing some pre-closing throughout the pitch, throughout your company story, throughout your products. You want to thread in little questions like, does that sound like the people you'd want to work with? Does that price make sense to you? Does that sound awesome? Does it sound like we did a good job? Sorry, sleeve roll up. You want to add in those little buying questions. Like, if that were you, you'd buy it, right? Yeah. They made a good decision. Yeah. Working with us is pretty awesome. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. Stupid little questions like that. Does that make sense? Are you on board? Are you that little tiny bit of yes. When you ask a question, you want to look for a yes or a no. When you're overcoming objections, you want an open-ended question. So when you're looking for closing questions, you want simple yeses and nos, preferably yeses. You want to stack yeses. What you want to do before you do your pre-close, normally if you have not built rapport, I'm going to go over that in the next section, but this is the perfect time to go in and tell a personal story, either about yourself, your family, or the company, because you just went over the products, their benefits and features. It's a perfect time to relate to that product or benefit to yourself, because the customer, the client, whoever is going to see themselves in your shoes. So no matter what the benefit was, so like if we use a Rolex, we could literally say, hey, I know this is a big purchase, obviously something that you want to get. Pre-close question. Let me tell you about the time that I bought a Rolex and who I bought it for. I bought a Rolex for my father as one of my big sales prizes. From one of the times I was selling a lot of home improvements, I actually won a Rolex that was the type of Rolex that my dad dreamed about. He always talked about it. He had a picture of it. And he saved up his money, and then he couldn't buy one because, COVID happened and all that shit, and they couldn't get him in. It was like this rush on Rolexes, and the prices of the one that he wanted skyrocketed. Well, true story, I just so happened to have won a Rolex. And one of the companies I work for, they bought Rolexes for the top 3 salespeople. And it just so happened to be the black and green, whatever the hell color Rolex. Well, my dad loved that watch. Well, I don't care about watches personally. It's not a big deal to me. So what I did was I gave it to him for his birthday. He wears it every day. It's like permanently, I think he wears it in the shower. It's permanently affixed to his wrist. That story connects. Wouldn't you want a story like that for yourself? Could you imagine how my father felt? Imagine how you're going to feel. Imagine how your mother or father would feel. Imagine how you will feel putting that on your wrist. That's an heirloom. And the reality is, I'm going to get that watch back. He already said it's in the will. Once he passes away, that watch is coming back to me. It's just on loan, because that's going to stay in our family. Don't you want something like that? Don't you want something like that? Pre-close question. Doesn't that sound awesome? Wouldn't you want to be part of that? You should get one from us. That works for anything. So that's a Rolex example, which is a great example. But you could do it with a car. You could do it with anything. I could do it with a refrigerator. Like, it doesn't matter. Connect to the story. If you don't have the ability to come up with a story, meaning you don't have someone in your family or someone you know, ask your coworkers. Ask your family. Ask your friends. Everybody knows somebody who's had some bizarre situation happen with some bizarre product. If you need more help than that, look online. Go to Reddit, go to YouTube, go to Google, type in problems with this or great experiences with, and whatever the product is, it will come up. Look it up on Amazon. I mean, anything you look up, you will be able to find it, and look at the reviews and then message the person that reviewed it. Hey, what happened? And they'll tell you the story. And you just say, hey, I found this story online about a guy that I spoke to, because I messaged him. I literally, so to back it up a step, I did this process that I'm talking to you about. I told a family story, connect, and then I went into my pre-close. And after that, I signed the deal. I didn't even do the rest of the pitch because the person was just like, hey, I want it. Let's just do it. Perfect. I made up my mind. You're awesome. Let's go. But if you don't have that story to connect, if you don't have a way to connect with them, you have to think on your feet. Well, a good thing to do is to always ask the other sales reps, like I said, to go online. So what I did was I recently, so it was a friend of mine, I recently purchased a new weapon, a new pistol. And online it had the worst reviews I've ever seen, ever. And I didn't actually buy it. My wife bought it for my birthday. And I was very excited about it until I saw these reviews. I was like, man, this is terrible. So I actually messaged a guy on there and I said, hey man, you had all these problems. What happened? Like, why were there all these issues? Like, this should have been a home run. And it comes to find out that it actually worked fine. It just didn't meet the standard that he wanted it. He complained up and down, but really it was great. And I've had no issues with mine. So now every time I meet somebody, I tell them, hey, if you're going to buy XYZ gun, it's not a race gun. It's designed for duty. You know, it's designed to just be a reliable shooter. It's not super fast. It's not this. It's not that. It wasn't meant to be. But if you're going to use it that way, you're going to hate it. I didn't make that story up. I just found someone who had that experience. And that's real life. Like, that's literally what I did. And now I've written my own reviews of it. And if you went online, you could find it. Be like, hey, this thing's freaking awesome. I love it. Other people hate it. You can find a difference of opinion on anything. Use that to create a connection story into your pre-close. Now, obviously, every person that you meet will be different. Every person you talk to on the phone will be different. You have to find their hot button issues and what turns them on. Normally, safe topics are family, personal experience, where they live or location. You could use a high school story. A lot of people love that. You can use pets is a great one. Because you want to have that little bit of connection where they feel endeared to you, you feel humanized. And then you're going to pre-close them by saying, can we just get this handled for you? It feels like they're talking to their friend because you are their friend. You're there to help them. And you're to help them buy. Be their friend. Make the deal. That's all my job is. I go out to people's houses. I tell them my company's story. I make a friend. And hopefully I can help them buy the product. If it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. I'm moving on to the next person. But I'm big enough to say, hey, I don't think this is a good fit for you. I don't think we could help you. I got to go. And you'd be amazed how many people where I've said hey, that literal thing. I tried to do the connect to the pre-close. And they're like, yeah, no, I'm just not interested. I'm like, you know what? We're probably not going to be a good fit for you. And then they're trying to sell me on staying to talk to them because they still want to buy it. It's very wild psychology. But always remember, you want to try to connect. Very important. And I like to connect right before the pre-close. Because the pre-close I'm going to go into in very specific steps on what you can say and how you can say it. There's a million ways, but there's a few that I found that works really well. Always try to redo that rapport right there. But I'm going to talk about rapport in the next video and then pre-close after that. But this is just a little taste of kind of the situation and the way I want to present this to you so that you know we're going to connect and then we're going to go right into our pre-close. We're going to use yes or no questions when we're trying to pre-close. We're going to use open-ended questions when we're trying to connect. Okay?